Picture a small farm. What do you see? Peaceful mornings, fresh air, open land, and honest, satisfying work. It's a beautiful dream. But there's one question almost no one answers honestly. How much money can a small farm really make? Not in theory. Not in a perfect season with perfect weather. But in real life, year after year. Today, we're not talking about dreams. We're talking about numbers, trade-offs, and a cold, hard reality of small-scale agriculture. Because the truth is often uncomfortable. And that's exactly why we need to talk about it. So, let's get into the myth of profitable farming. Many people believe small farms fail because of things they can't control, like the weather, a sudden drought, a devastating flood, a bad season. But weather is not the main problem. The real issue is our expectations. Most small farms don't fail because they lose money. They fail because they never make enough money to actually sustain a life. A farm can be profitable on paper, meaning its revenue is higher than its expenses, and still leave the farmer completely exhausted, drowning in debt and feeling trapped. Here's the key: profit does not equal income, and income does not equal stability. Understanding this difference changes absolutely everything. A positive number on a spreadsheet doesn't pay your mortgage or your kid's dentist bill. If the cash flow isn't there, the farm might be in the black, but the farmer's personal bank account is empty. This brings us to another important point. What does small farm actually mean? In the United States, a small farm typically has a few common characteristics. We're usually talking about 1 to 50 acres of land. It's often family-run, with limited mechanization, so more hand tools and less giant, expensive tractors, and they typically focus on 1 or 2 main products. This could be a mix of vegetables for a CSA, raising livestock for meat, selling eggs at a farmer's market, or growing specialty crops like flowers or mushrooms. And here's the most important part of the definition. Most small farms are not businesses first. They are lifestyles that try to become businesses. People start with a passion for the land, for growing food, for a certain way of life. The business plan comes later, almost as an afterthought. And that creates a very dangerous illusion where the romance of the lifestyle obscures the brutal economics required to make it work. Okay, let's talk real numbers. Not the highlight reels you see on social media, but the actual, gritty figures from the balance sheet. A typical small, diversified farm might generate anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 in gross revenue per year. At first glance, that sounds pretty good, right? But remember, gross revenue is not your take-home pay. It's just the total amount of money that comes in the door. From that, you have to subtract all the expenses. And the list of expenses is long. There are seeds and animal feed. There's equipment, fuel, and the constant cost of repairs. You have packaging, transportation to get your products to market, and the fees to even sell at that market. Then there's insurance liability, crop, vehicle. It all adds up. After all those expenses are paid, many small farms are left with a net income of somewhere between $20,000 and $35,000. Sometimes it's even less. And this is before you pay income taxes, before you pay for health care, and long before you can even think about saving for retirement. This is the part nobody posts online. They'll show you the beautiful harvest, but they won't show you the P&L statement that keeps them awake at night. And that brings us to the hidden cost of small farming, the one that's even harder to quantify than money: time. Small farmers often work 60 to 80 hours a week, especially during the main season. There are no weekends off. There's no paid leave. The work doesn't stop just because it's a holiday. When you divide that net income by the sheer number of hours worked, you find that many small farmers are earning far less than the legal minimum wage. This isn't because they're bad farmers or because they aren't working hard enough. It's because scale is an unforgiving force. You can't negotiate with biology. Plants grow at their own speed. Animals don't care about your schedule. They need to be fed and cared for daily. Time becomes the silent tax that consumes your life. But hold on, it's not all doom and gloom. Some small farms do make real money. They find a way to thrive. But here's the secret. It's usually not by producing more tomatoes or raising more chickens. It's by changing the game entirely. The successful farms usually focus on one of a few key strategies. The first is aggressive direct-to-consumer sales, cutting out the middleman entirely. The second is focusing on niche, high-value products that command a premium price. Think gourmet mushrooms, specialty flowers, or heritage breed pork. The third, and perhaps most powerful, is processing. Instead of selling raw products, they add value. They turn their milk into artisanal cheese. They turn their excess fruit into jams and pies. They shift from selling at a market stall to offering curated subscription boxes. When they do this, the farm stops being just a producer of commodities. It becomes a story, a relationship, a brand. You're not just buying a carrot, you're buying a piece of that farm's identity. This is where real margins finally appear. The farmer is no longer a price taker, they become a price maker. But this success leads us to the hard trade-off. This is the uncomfortable truth at the heart of modern small farming. The more money a small farm makes, the less it looks and feels like traditional farming. It becomes a business heavy on logistics, marketing, and customer service. You spend less time in the field with your hands in the dirt and more time in front of a screen, managing a website, answering emails, and running social media ads. The job shifts from farmer to CEO. Many farmers don't quit because they fail at farming. They quit because they succeed at building a business they never wanted in the first place. They dreamed of a quiet life with the soil and ended up running a complex, customer-facing retail operation. This is the real dilemma. So, after all of this, is a small farm worth it? The answer depends entirely on one question. What do you expect the farm to do for you? If you expect a calm lifestyle, a modest supplemental income, and a deep sense of satisfaction from the work itself, then yes, a small farm can absolutely work. It can be a beautiful and fulfilling life. But if you expect financial freedom, passive income, or a business that can be easily scaled up, a small farm will almost certainly disappoint you, not because farming is broken, but because those expectations were misaligned from the very beginning. A small farm doesn't fail because it can't make money. It fails when we ask it to be something it was never designed to be. The land gives value, but clarity gives survival, and sometimes the most profitable decision you can make is to understand the real cost of the dream before you buy the land. Thanks for watching.